Hello everybody, I'm Zenith and welcome back to Diving Into DuckTales, where Kat Macberrie, Doug Macberrie, and myself are locked into a war to decide who is the most Scottish, and talk about DuckTales 2017 and DuckTales 2018 throughout all of the episodes. Before we get started, how's it going, Kat?
I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the YouTube troll that downvotes all of your videos. I am so freaking excited for this podcast. You have no fucking idea.
I am the termite that chews up your floorboards.
I am the roller skate at the bottom of your stairs.
Maybe I should shorten this a little bit. Before we get into this amazing episode, Doug, how's it going?
I was talking about being Scottish, and then what's all this, I am the thing, and then the I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Hi, everybody, I'm doing okay.
Doug, you are fired. You're not Scottish enough.
He's right, you know.
So, we're going to be talking about Beware the B.U.D.Y System today, but first of all, I think that we have to talk about the most exciting part of this episode that is full of exciting things, and it's Darkwing Duck is back, guys. Darkwing Duck is here, and it's a TV show in the DuckTales universe. Now, I'm not quite sure how that works for the characters, if that means that, Darkwing Duck is going to appear later, or if this is just like a cameo that's going to keep appearing. But all I know is that this episode opened up with like 5 minutes of Darkwing Duck. It just cold open, we see Darkwing Duck with the rest of his villains, and this was the best part of the episode, and oh my god, when he just said, let's get dangerous, I'm like, yes. Yes.
Oh god, I squealed so hard.
She messaged me when I was at work, saying, "Oh, you need to see the episode already." Like, oh my god, and I'm like, "Oh god, I'm gonna watch it after work." She's like, "Do it. We need to squee together." And I'm like, I know.
I literally wrote out my squee in text. That is how excited I was. Oh yeah, but this was amazing. Like I did not expect this. Like I knew we were getting Gizmoduck, but I did not expect him and Darkwing Duck in the same episode. Like that was such a surprise, and it was amazing. And the fact that it's a TV show within the TV show, it just makes it so much better. Like at first I was like, wait, this is just a fictional thing? But wait, that makes so much sense now. It's just, oh god, I was so happy. And then you see not only Darkwing Duck, you see his villains, you see Quackerjack, you see Megavolt, you see Liquidator. Like, frankly, I'm surprised they didn't break out the whole Fearsome Five. I would have loved to have seen Negaduck and Bushroot, but oh man, what we got was awesome. Like, I was squeeing the whole time, and I was like, I couldn't stop. And then they kept referencing him throughout the episode, and it was so great. It's like, I want more.
This is a big deal to me because, well, I was not a huge fan of DuckTales. I'm a huge fan of Darkwing Duck. I used to watch Darkwing Duck all the time when I was a kid, along with, like, Bonkers and some of the other, like, Saturday morning cartoons, I think we had like a cartoon channel that had all of that together, and so you could watch this cartoon block with all the like best stuff, like Goof Troop and Darkwing Duck, and like, so I was watching this block, and I'm like, Darkwing Duck was my love. Like it was a superhero show aimed at kids that wasn't dumbed down, and it was fun and it was funny, and seeing Jim Cummings voice this character again, seeing this character come back, was one of the best parts. It's honestly, like, I wonder if they're doing this to test the waters for, like, a Darkwing Duck TV show, because I would be all for that. That would be so good.
I mean, I haven't heard anything about it. I know a lot of people are for it, especially after this episode, but I don't think it's their intention to reboot Darkwing Duck. I guess just, sort of like reintroduce them for the new era, possibly for like a future plotline or something. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be cool. I would love to see that, but I think like they are going to primarily focus on DuckTales, just with, maybe a Darkwing cameo here and there. Either way, I think that's cool though. Because I know the way they were describing him is that he's this actor who did all of his own stunts, and he got pretty banged up later in life. And the whole scenario, like I've heard other people say this too. They're thinking that maybe they're setting up for a future episode where Launchpad meets the actor, and it becomes like a gray ghost scenario, like from that Batman episode. I'm also thinking it might be a daring do scenario like from My Little Ponies, where it turns out he actually is a superhero, and this is like chronicling his like adventures as a superhero. Like either way, it would be awesome, and I would love to see more Darkwing, and seeing a Launchpad get to like team up with him again. That'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Or it could be a Kim Possible scenario where he's old and senile and he thinks he's Darkwing Duck, so he dons the persona of Darkwing Duck. Like that would be really, really cool. Doug, what are your thoughts on Darkwing Doug?
Darkwing Doug. Yeah, unfortunately, I did not have, the same, exposure to Darkwing Duck as a kid. It kind of passed me by. Plus, I didn't really have, like, Disney Channel when I was a kid. I had ABC, but, I really didn't watch it until more like the late 90s. So I think Darkwing Duck had kind of passed by at that point. I was aware of Darkwing Duck, so, like, it wasn't completely lost on me with this. But obviously, I don't have the same nostalgia as a lot of other people would for Darkwing Duck. But nonetheless, I did find this very exciting. And I am really curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah, it's like I feel bad, Doug, because I know you don't know as much about it as I did, so I apologize for scaring you with my squeakiness.
I've squeed at other things pretty hard myself, so.
So yeah, like this was a very nice surprise, especially to just start off the episode. We have this big thing, and then we pull back, and it's a TV show that Launchpad is really into, and it makes so much sense because Launchpad is this character who likes getting into dangerous situations. He loves to crash things. He's very adventurous, and so he has a bunch of Darkwing Duck action figures that say "Let's get dangerous," and so he starts adopting the catchphrase as well. And I'm like, if he were to be a sidekick to Darkwing Duck, like that would fit. I really love this connection, and I think this was great for a reboot to have Launchpad be the character to reintroduce Darkwing Duck. But then we have the actual plots of the episode, which is good, but I'm just like, after Darkwing Duck, everything is always downhill a little bit for me. Like this is a fantastic episode, but that opening, that was like the perfect opening. So Kat, why don't you give us a brief summary of this episode?
Sure. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes on in this episode, like a lot. But I guess we can start off by the first plot point. Launchpad actually gets his driver's license, which he didn't have before, and somehow passed now, despite how much he crashes.
And that's another part of the cold open that was funny, because he backs through the garage door. like right through the metal. He's just like, oh, I just got my license. Let's test it out. And then there's another part where he's like, well, I have my pilot's license, don't I? Wait, don't I?
I'm a pilot.
I would totally believe that he didn't.
I'm a pilot.
Actually, I learned a cool tidbit regarding Launchpad's license. If you pause like the screenshot where he holds it up, you see that his birthday is actually September 18th, 1987. that is the day that the original DuckTales premiered, and the first time you ever see Launchpad McQuack.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That would also mean that Launchpad is around our age, which meant he also grew up with Darkwing Duck just like we did. So it makes total sense.
Oh my god. That's like Duckception. Duckception.
Oh yeah, and apparently Launchpad's also an organ donor. Good to know he's prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice.
Assuming there's any organ left.
If I'm gonna die crashing, brah.
It's death by plane or nothing. But anyway, so of course Launchpad's all excited, wants to tell Scrooge, but Scrooge is preoccupied because Gyro is trying to come up with a new invention that hopefully doesn't turn evil this time. However, it turns out that Mark Beeks has actually beat them on an invention that Gyro originally thought wasn't possible. It's actually a self-driving car. And this makes Launchpad nervous because Scrooge is intrigued by the idea, because the self-driving car is basically, the perfect chauffeur that doesn't crash. So, of course, Launchpad feels his job is threatened, so what does he do? He declares a race. We're going to do that typical 90s trope, It's like, let's decide who's better, man or machine. I challenge thee to a race. Winner takes all, yada yada. So yeah, it's him versus the robot, which is called Buddy. And at the same time, we're also introduced to Gyro's intern, Fenton Crackshell Cabrera. So, a.k.a. Gizmoduck! And yeah, lots of shit happens because, as we know, this is a DuckTales episode, and there is a robot in it, so naturally, the robot has to turn evil. So, cue all the action.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this episode, but it does kind of tie in together well. If I'll give the episode anything, I think what really works is that they set up a lot of these plot points in previous episodes. Like, we have Gyro with, like, making robots that automatically turn out to be evil. We have Mark Beeks, who's already been established as a character who just buys up inventions and, sells ideas to people. You have these characters who are set up, and we know what they're all about. And so they're kind of conflict in this episode, and I think what really works about it is that they play off each other really well. And I really do like Gyro's assistant. He means well, and while he does make a lot of mistakes, he's a very brilliant guy. Like, I can see him being another inventor, and I think he's the perfect person to become Gizmo because, he has that well-meaning attitude. He has that drive to help people and to go out of his way to improve inventions and stuff like that. And when he gets the Gizmo armor, I'm like, okay, this works really well. Seeing Gizmoduck on screen like this is really, really good. They do a great job of bringing this character, and they make a lot of really good gags with what he can do with his abilities. Like, he's almost like Inspector Gadget.
Mm-hmm. Or RoboCop.
He's a bumbling guy who means well and ends up saving the day in the end, and I think that's what works about the character is he's lovable. He's a character you want to succeed, and when he puts on that armor, I was cheering because that's another big part of the episode. We knew it was going to happen, but we didn't know when it was going to happen, and it's actually pretty late in the episode after everything has gone down.
I do like how when he finally does summon the armor, he has sort of like a Sailor Moon-like transformation. Or like a sort of Iron Man thing, the way the armor just like flies onto him. I thought that was pretty cool.
And it's funny too because he's the one who says blathering blatherskites, and the armor like goes all the way like across town to find him. And he's like, oh, I wonder if it worked. And then all of a sudden he gets hit by the armor.
Well, that's how it was in the original. The way that the armor was activated by saying the secret passcode, and whoever uttered it, that's who the armor came to. So, that's in continuity.
So yeah, like instead of having an A plot and a B plot, it's like a bunch of different motivations converging, and there's some interesting developments in the fact that Buddy is essentially stolen technology. It's bulb tech. Basically, you know, the little bulb that went evil from like one of the earlier episodes, the Great Dime Chase. Gyro's assistant put the designs online to try to crowdsource the kinks in the system. Well, it turns out that Mark Beeks bought this and supposedly fixed it until it goes evil again because he insults Little Bulb.
He didn't so much fix it, he just made it look, in his words, less lame, I guess. He didn't actually, like, fix any of the problems that Little Bulb had. He just, you know, it was just, oh, look, a cool design that I can mass market to people. I'm just gonna paint a new face on it, but not work out any of the kinks. So again, we have to have our evil robot because it is something from Gyro, and he just has that tendency. I love how he finally realizes this in this episode, where when they go to the display for Buddy, and he actually asks Mark Beeks, So what exactly is your plan so this robot doesn't turn evil? Wow, that sounds weird when you say it out loud.
And there's some really good banter between all these people, and I think overall, like, each character has their motivation, each character has their storyline continued in this, which is kind of interesting because before we'd have episodes that focus on specific characters, where here, pretty much all of these characters, except for maybe Dewey, gets a focus, and all of them have something to do here. You know, the assistant wants to prove that he's brilliant and that he's worthy of, you know, helping out with inventions, and Launchpad wants to prove that he can drive better than a robot because he earned his license, and he's actually much better than any robot, honestly. Like, well, he does crash, everyone survives, so, I mean, it's okay. It's all good. And then with Scrooge, he doesn't really advance in character, but he shows that he actually does care about Launchpad, and that really the only thing he was doing was trying to make more money for himself. Like, he would never trade Launchpad for anything, and he explains this in this episode. And with Mark Beeks, he just wants to, you know, sell his technology and get one up over Scrooge, and only to be thwarted again by Scrooge, which prompts him to want revenge. So there's that plot point going on. And then you have Gyro, who just wants to make his inventions not be evil. And even in this episode, that somehow never happens. Like, the only thing that works of his that doesn't turn evil is a human-powered robot. Like, that's the best idea that Gyro has ever come up with. But yeah, so all of these characters have different plot lines that are weaving together in this episode, and I find that interesting. Doug, what do you think about, like, the different way in which this episode was portrayed? Because before, like I said, we usually have either an A plot and a B plot, or we'd have, like, a completely character-focused episode.
I mean, I'd say it's kind of like a meshing of two plots into one, or a convergence, I guess, that happens a lot earlier than most normal, like, A plot, B plot sort of episodes. So, I mean, yeah, it's really cool. It actually, you know, everything toward, like, the second act on basically is all one plot. So, you know, that was pretty interesting, and it definitely keeps your focus. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I can say as far as that's concerned. Every character definitely got, you know, their time to shine. It is nice that we're kind of continuing a bunch of stories at once.
I like that for the first time since I've started watching DuckTales, I actually found a Launchpad episode that I love. And because like I said, I've been watching the old DuckTales, and the worst episodes, as I said, have been the ones featuring Launchpad, because it all relies on him being dumb as a doornail. But in this one, this is like this this is not only kind of like an arc for Launchpad, but it shows what truly is special about him, and that's the fact that he's not afraid to live dangerously, not afraid to take that risk and do what he can to save people. And the fact that he's so inspired by Darkwing Duck, who has sort of like the same ideology. Granted, he does it more for fame and attention, but still, Launchpad knows that he's fearless, and that's what he wants to be, and he shows it. And seeing him in the car race at the end, the way he drives that vehicle, however impractical it is, it's awesome to watch. It's like on the one hand, yeah, you probably never want to fly with Launchpad personally, because he's almost guaranteed the crash. But on the other hand, he has the ability and the nerve to like get out of it unharmed. So that is something to be admired.
I think another big thing is that they dialed, Launchpad's overconfidence down a whole lot from the original DuckTales.
Yeah.
And I think it makes him a much more charming character.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of why I didn't like the old Launchpad episodes, is because, like, granted, Launchpad is dumb in this version, but it's more in a good-natured, naive sort of way. In the old one, he was like way too overconfident in his ability. It's like, to the point where, like, oh yeah, I can crash anything, I can put people's lives in danger and destroy public property, and I'm proud of this fact, and how dare you tell me otherwise. It's like, why should we like this guy? He clearly has no regard for anybody's safety, and it's all about him just looking good, and the fact that they even have like characters in the show look up to him despite his buffoonery and tendency to put others in danger, just makes it that much worse. In this one, you can see why people like him. You can see why they trust him to do what he does. So and this episode just perfectly illustrates that so much.
I think like there's a quote in there when he when they're at the demonstration, Launchpad goes up to Mark Beeks, and he basically asks him, does a robot, have the capacity of, if you're in a crash, guiding your passengers out with a gentle hand and a reassuring note? And it's like, yeah, that kind of, that says it all about why Launchpad's so much better in this, because despite the fact that he knows he's going to crash, he is also concerned with the lives of others, whereas the old Launchpad wouldn't really have cared as much.
I love how he, like, when he's being trained by the assistant on how to drive better, and how, like, it's just so alien to him trying not to crash, and he has all these notes, and he's just like, he's a better driver as is. Even when he's being dangerous, he's probably one of the safer drivers out there. And there's also a really funny bit where he basically goes to Gyro and says, hey, I have this friend, he's not Launchpad, and he has this friend who's, let's call him Launchpad. He goes on this elaborate story just to get them to help, and the assistant just helps anyway.
I challenged him to a race, perfectly common scenario.
Launchpad is just a great character in general in this. He's a lot of fun to be around. He cares about everyone, and he knows he's gonna crash, and that's like his whole shtick, but not at the danger of anyone else. And he always seems to pull through despite the odds. So, like, I really liked this episode for what it did for Launchpad's character. But there are a couple other things that happened. So let's talk about the very end of the episode, namely what happened with Mark Beeks. At the very end of the episode, he has this brief interlude before the episode cuts out, where he's just like, "Oh, Gizmoduck," and he like declares his revenge on Scrooge, and he seems like he's out to get Gizmoduck. So I wonder if that's going to like kind of set up future plot points, because there's like 3 separate storylines going on in DuckTales right now, where we have the stuff with Aunt Magica, we have the mystery of Della Duck, and we have the stuff with Gyro and Gizmoduck. And so these 3 plot lines are kind of running separately next to each other. And Mark Beeks seems like he wants to continue this Gizmoduck plotline, in that, like, all along the Mark Beeks episode was just a setup for what was going to happen in the Gizmoduck episode. So it's retroactively improving past episodes too.
Yeah, I get the feeling he is gonna try to steal the armor, or at least commandeer Fenton while he's wearing the suit, because that has happened in the show before. I know in the premiere, Ma Beagle actually gets a hold of the suit with a remote control, and she has Gizmoduck basically steal stuff for her. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Beeks tries to pull the same thing, or if he does manage to get a hold of the suit, attempts to make their own prototype version of it, and it'd be like an Iron Man scenario where they have like the 2 opposing armors fighting each other. So I could see that happening.
I am Iron Duck.
Quack, 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 quack.
I gotta say, I liked Lin-Manuel Miranda in this role. I thought he did pretty good. Like, I was like a bit worried because I'd never heard him voice act before, but I thought he did pretty well with this, both like as Fenton and as Gizmoduck, because that's the thing. In the original, the voice actor kind of changes voices a bit. He at least like makes his voice deeper, so he sounds more superhero-like. In this one, I believe Lin-Manuel Miranda just uses his natural voice, and it kind of works for both characters. So, yeah, I thought he did a pretty good job. And just making Fenton come across as likable in general, and, hitting those jokes when he does. So I look forward to him coming back in the future.
I certainly agree with that. I'm curious to see where this plot line goes, because like I said, there's 3 separate plot lines running concurrently. The Aunt Magica stuff, which hasn't been followed up on in a while. We have the Gizmoduck stuff, which is been spread out over the course of quite a few episodes. And we have the Della Duck stuff, and now we focus on those two things. It's probably going to go to Aunt Magica next, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm wondering if they're all 3 going to intertwine somehow.
It's possible, or I mean, they could just be their own separate things. I mean, not all plot lines tend to converge, but I guess we'll see. I mean, the show's well written enough where I wouldn't be surprised if they made it work by having all those 3 elements combined.
And Mr. Doug, what do you think of all this?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, it's like, if I did not know that Lin-Manuel Miranda was voicing Fenton, I never would have guessed. Yeah, I think he does a really good job. I think he's also a very good balance for our new Gyro, given that it's like, not only does Gyro tend to come up with these inventions that are evil, some of his other inventions just don't make sense. Like his idea for the train that runs on noise power. I'm like, do you not see all the variables? I don't think you could keep, the level of noise that you want for the train to run properly forever. There's this...
To be fair, that is consistent with Gyro's character, because in the original, that was the problem with a lot of his inventions and why they turned evil, is because he never accounted for the variables or any of the possibilities that if this happened, then the thing could go rogue. So, but in this case, at least he has the personality to go along with why his inventions go that route, because he's antisocial, and he's all about, just focusing on his inventions, having that drive to just move forward without the consequence of how it would reflect on other people. It was all about how far can he go, how far can his ambition stretch. So, yeah, I do agree. Like, I do think Fenton is a good balance, because not only does he have, the morality to say, hey, this might be bad for mankind, but to also, test it himself and to sort of reel in the project a bit, just to make sure that, this isn't another take over the world scenario, which Gyro is infamous for.
Yeah, they seem to play Gyro up here more as a brilliant but absent-minded kind of scientist, and that seems to be like what happens with a lot of brilliant people. It's like they might have like an idea that could change the world, but there's something wrong with it. And I think Fenton is a very good balance for that, a good foil, because he also seems very brilliant but bumbling, and put the two of them together and they make one brilliant mind. So I think that works.
And then we also have another character we kind of haven't talked about that came back from the pilot.
Oh yeah, the statue.
The headless horse.
The horse with Scrooge's head. Like, where the fuck did that thing come from? Why is it still around?
And yet it proves like useful.
I guess it needs work too.
I
have so many questions. Like, why did Gyro employ him? What, like?
It's like, I thought he was just gonna be like a one. Yeah, I thought he was just gonna be like a one-off character, but then they like bring him back, and then it's like, what? Wait, what?
There's a lot of continuity in this show, and it's very surprising, because a lot of things I thought was just going to be one-off things. Like, I thought Mark Beeks was going to be, in the volcano, eaten by sharks. Like, I thought he would be done for with that.
The shark guy.
You forget that was a Glomgold plan. Those plans never work.
Touche. But now I want to see more of Glomgold, because I want him to return and be like, damn it, my shark plan didn't work. Well, I need to go back to the drawing board and use this elaborate plan.
More sharks!
More sharks!
More fake beards!
Perhaps I didn't use enough lava that time.
With a bigger volcano.
With a bigger buffet!
You know what? Forget that. A bigger buffet. He wasn't distracted by the buffet. Who does that? Yeah, I'm missing Glomgold. I kind of... Like, the last episode we saw him in was Mark Beeks, and granted, they do tend to rotate this cast a little bit, so he will be back, but, just, like, we were conversing before we started recording about that whole episode, the Mark Beeks episode, and the thing that really made it wasn't just Mark Beeks, it was mostly the Glomgold and Scrooge interactions, and, who was most squish.
I think that also explains why, like, Scrooge wasn't as angry with Mark Beeks when they meet at the demonstration, because he's probably like, because spending all this time, trying to, destroy a person I hate. Who am I? You?
Yeah, who am I, you?
I would think, if anything, he'd be grateful to Mark Beeks for distracting Glomgold and giving him a break once in a while.
Also, how is Mark Beeks not in jail?
Well, see, here's the thing. When you're the CEO of Waddle and you admit to having an invention that's not actually there, all you have to do is publicly come forth, say you were sorry, and it'll all blow over, because that's what happens in the world today. It's like, no, I'm sorry I got caught. It's gonna be okay. I won't get caught next time.
Well, keep in mind, he didn't tell everybody this. He didn't tell everybody that he lied about the whole thing. The only ones who know that Project To Die was a fake is Huey, Dewey, and that sabotage guy. and he discredited all 3 of them because the one guy, technically what he was doing was illegal, so he'd incriminate himself in the process. And then the other 2 he fired, and he said that if you say anything, I'll just say that you made up the lie because you were fired. So yeah, technically speaking, nobody knows that Project Tada was a fake, and they all gave their money and think that, oh, it was stolen. Oh, well, lost investment. I mean, it explains why he had the money to recreate Little Bulb the way he did.
That makes perfect sense. Damn. It's like I can't fault this episode for that because it works perfectly with that. Like there's some really great thinking here, and while I'm still mad at Mark Beeks for faking it and making it because I totally want to do that. You can't fault him for actually, succeeding.
Yeah, like there is some merit to that, but like I said, I'm interested to see what he does with the whole Gizmoduck suit from this point. It should be interesting.
By the way, can I say how much I love in the climax, how much it's like resembling of Looney Tunes, particularly like Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoons?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, even Little Bulb like fell down the way Wile E. Coyote does into the water at the end.
Splat.
I think we covered everything in this episode. I mean, there was so much going on, but it was so awesome.
There was a lot going on, but it all connected to each other, and that's the thing. Like when we have an A plot and a B plot to discuss, or maybe sometimes even a C plot, like we cover those separately, so we can cover those in different sections. But we covered it pretty much all at once. There's a lot of good things. Like I love the Darkwing Duck stuff. I love the Gizmoduck stuff. I'm intrigued to what's going to happen with Mark Beeks and his revenge plot. Like there's a lot of things going on, and it seems to be setting up for more. So all I can say right now is I'm excited. I really love this episode. This is 2 really good episodes in a row. Guys, Kat, what's your final thoughts on this episode?
I adored this episode. Like, not only just the Darkwing Duck part, but just as a whole, I love that they managed to make all of these plot points like converge almost seemingly. I loved Gizmoduck and his new characterization. I loved all the action in it. And it was a perfect episode, honestly. And like I said, it's like the first Launchpad episode I could say I actually love. And it made me love the character even more. Like that is a huge feat in and of itself. So yeah, I was just so happy. I'm so happy, and I can't wait to see where they go with the whole Gizmoduck subplot with Mark Beeks. I hope that they go somewhere with the revelation of Darkwing Duck, and that he cameos in the future. Like I'm looking forward to a lot of things. Like I thought the first episode was great, but this one was even better. I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. And Doug, what are your final thoughts?
Oh yeah, I really liked this episode. I mean, even though I'm not really, all that knowledgeable of Darkwing Duck, I could definitely appreciate him being in there and what impact this could have for the show. What, doors this could open in the future. I think just the episode in general was just really well done. The characters are really just a lot of fun, really enjoyable, and, again, really looking forward to where they're going to go from here. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I can say, because, I mean, there's just so much going on, but that basically sums it up.
When they said that the second half of the season was going to return with a lot of awesome things happening, I was a little bit skeptical, mostly because, there's a couple of episodes of filler that I did not really care for. But so far, this is on point. This is a return to form. The first 2 episodes that we covered of the series, we absolutely loved, and this is almost like a 1-2 punch return to that same level of excitement and kind of wonder that we had when we first saw the first couple episodes of season 1. Now, overall, I still think this show is fantastic, even though there's a couple episodes I probably won't revisit in the future. But this right here, these past 2 episodes have been some of the best episodes of the show thus far. It keeps getting better. It keeps going back to past plot points. Even some of the weaker points, like with the terror of the Terraformians, if you watch it in terms of these 3 plot lines going on simultaneously, it just really works to flesh out the world of DuckTales. And again, had it been aired in the proper order, I think Terror of the Terraformians would be one of our favorites. So yeah, like right now with the buddy system, like I'm saying I love this show, and I think this episode is fantastic. I think the Darkwing Duck stuff was just like everyone was talking about it. It's one of those big things that they didn't say anything. Nothing was leaked. We didn't know he was going to be in the episode. It was a fantastic reveal. And like there's some really good things that they have been doing. I hope they keep it up. So I'm going to say right now that thus far, DuckTales 2017, 2018, it gets my seal of approval as, you should watch it, because damn, they improved nearly everything about the original DuckTales. And while there's 1 or 2 episodes I dislike, there's no bad episode. So, yeah. Watch it.
Man, how do we go off of that? Because, yeah, like Zen said, just watch it. I mean, granted, it helps if you're a fan of Darkwing Duck and have watched a lot of the old DuckTales episodes to know about Gizmoduck, but still, it's still enjoyable in and of itself, and it's just so much fun. It's so exciting. And next episode, your wish comes true, Zen. We get more Glom Gold. And
yes!
And we also get special cameos by ponies. You know what I'm talking about.
So let me get this straight. The sharks didn't work, so I'm going to use multicolored talking ponies. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we'll see how that works.
Yeah, this was one of the few things that leaked online. Like, there were, like, things about it that were leaked, and I've been trying to avoid as much as I can, but Kat randomly sent me a link. I didn't know it was DuckTales. I just saw ponies, and I laughed at it, and she said, "Did you get my thing about the new DuckTales?" And I'm like, wait a second, that's DuckTales? So, yeah.
Yeah, the next 2 episodes actually have already been leaked in, like, Russia and other and the other countries, so I know it's online. We haven't seen it yet. We would like to see this in sequential, just in case something comes up, but don't worry, we'll get to them, we'll watch them, and we'll geek out as usual, and I can't wait for the ponies cameo because it's gonna be so funny. Because that they had to take that opportunity to, like, poke fun at bronies and the whole pony genre.
I'm just interested because Kat got me into My Little Pony when I was like not even that big of a fan, but like when the new generation of My Little Pony started, she got me into it, and so we pretty much watched everything up until this point. So it'll be interesting to see how these magical talking ponies are integrated into the DuckTales universe. All right. Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything. Is there anything else you guys want to add before I wrap it up?
I think I'm good.
All right, then. With all of that being said, I am Zenith Rule.
I'm Kat Macberrie.
I'm not Launchpad. I mean Doug Macberrie.
I am not a pilot. Wait. And we will see you guys next time where we get to talk about ponies and ducks. It's gonna be, ponytail. The title is a lie, not ponytails. There's gonna be ponytails and ducktails.
Woohoo!
It's gonna be crazy. But we'll see you guys then. Have a good one, guys.
And with that being said, let's get dangerous.
Hey, this is Megami33. Thank you for watching Zenith Will Review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome videos. If you like what you see, check out the Patreon page at patreon.com/ZenithWillReview.
One of you are not a Scot. You shall be ejected from the podcast. All non-Scottish people are not welcome here.
So all three of us are good then.
Yes, we're all good.
Cool. Nice. Eric's not welcome.
I'm sorry, Eric, but I am Scotch-Irish, and they're Scottish, so therefore, we are better than you. No, Eric, we love you. This is going in the bloopers, but we do love you. Because it just cold opens like this, and I was not expecting it. And 1 second. Kitty.